Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Salebox for the 22nd of December 2012. My name is TotalBiscuit, rounding up your daily Steam deals. As always, there are new deals every 24 hours, and the deals themselves last for 48 hours. If you missed out on yesterday's deals, which included the Darksiders franchise, Tom Clancy franchise, the Fear franchise, SimCity 4, Dishonored, and Psychonauts, then please check out my previous episode of the Salebox to get more information. So let's kick it off, shall we? Having a look at these deals, and the first one on the list is the Dawn of War franchise. This will cost you $9.99, €9.99, and €8.74. The franchise pack contains pretty much everything. It's got all of the Dawn of War expansions, it's got all of the Dawn of War 2 expansions, and it has all of the optional DLC for Dawn of War 2 Retribution, which is for the most part just cosmetic stuff and a few items here and there. This bundle is pretty phenomenal, honestly. The price is beyond belief. The individual price in dollars would be $62. This is $10. You are saving over 80% on this bundle, even though it only says 75. Although, admittedly, you are getting an awful lot of kind of useless DLC in it, so that's not necessarily the best thing ever. But for $10, you're getting Dawn of War 1 and 2 and all the expansion packs. Dawn of War 1 is still good. Like, as in the campaign for single player for Dawn of War and Dawn of War Winter Assault, those are still very good RTS games. Dawn of War 2 single player is kind of more like a tactical squad-based shooter, a little bit more Men of War-ish than Company of Heroes. You don't build units in the single-player campaign. You go in with a set of squads and you accomplish your objectives. It's almost like an action RPG, since it has leveling up and loot drops and things like that. I really loved the single-player campaign. I've beaten the original as well as the Chaos expansion and Retribution. They are all really, really fun, in my opinion, in single player. Retribution has the weakest campaign, but it does allow you to play all of the factions in single player, which is something the other ones do not allow you to do. You mostly play Space Marines in Dawn of War 2, and you mostly play Space Marines in the original as well. You can play a little bit of Imperial Guard in Winter Assault, though, and you also get to dip into the Eldar for a brief period of time, if I recall correctly. It's a really good series of RTS games. This is a really good price for it as well. If you've never played any of the Dawn of War games, this is an ideal time just to get them all, and get them all for a really cheap price. The only reason I think why you would not be interested in dipping into it is because there is also a THQ pack, which includes Dawn of War 2 and all of its expansions. Doesn't have Dawn of War 1 in there, but Dawn of War 2 is, and that's not too shabby at all. It's also got Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine and a bunch of other really, really good games. So if you're only interested in Dawn of War 2, then I would suggest, if it's all possible, that you go and have a look at the THQ pack, because there may be a lot of games in there that you're interested in. If you haven't played the franchise before, then I would certainly pick up the actual Dawn of War franchise pack, because that is the best value. If you're going to pick and choose, then the only thing I would say is that the weakest part of the pack is Soulstorm. You don't really need to worry about that, because, in my opinion, it's actually a terrible expansion pack, and the single player is nothing short of shoddy, terrible, and completely non-canon. 1,000 Baneblades and so forth, so that might be worth avoiding. Everything else is pretty good, though. Dead Island, 66% off, taking it down to $6.79, €6.79, and £6.79. The only way I'd recommend this one is if you have a bunch of friends that are willing to play it with you. It's very much a co-op-focused zombie RPG, a first-person one specifically. It's got a little bit of a Borderlands vibe to it, just a little bit. It's got a pretty dumb story and some fairly awful characters, but some pretty enjoyable combat if you can get past some of the more ridiculous things in that game, including the idea that you can just buy weapons all over the island. Who the hell's selling them? I really don't know. It's a fairly pretty game, I have to say, and it does have this really nice aesthetic to it, since it's off on a tropical resort island. However, the gameplay itself is lacking, and is quite frankly only really good in co-op. The game suffers from narrow FOV, although that can be changed in the default_levels.xml file. If you look for camera default FOV, you can tweak that. There are some people that have long load times with the game, and if you're using surround sound headsets, you may experience a lot of crackling. There's a lot of tweaking that you need to do to actually get this thing working properly. Its PC port is not the best thing ever by any stretch of the imagination, but it is okay if you download the Dead Island Helper tool. You can find the link over on PCGamingWiki.com. Just look for the Dead Island page. That will give you all of the information. But yeah, and avoid unless you have a group of friends willing to play this with you. Train Simulator 2013. No, I'm not doing anything on this game. Go to hell. The Blood Bowl franchise. 33 to 75% off. That would be $20.09 if you want the Chaos Edition, $4.99 for the Legendary Edition. That's the same price in euros, and £13.39 or £3.74. So what's the difference between the packs? Well, I will tell you this, the Chaos Edition has 3 new races and like a new stadium and a new game mode, and that really is about it, which means that you would be very, very silly indeed if you were to buy the Chaos Edition, because there is absolutely no point in doing so unless you're a hardcore Blood Bowl enthusiast. And if you are, you already own the game anyway. So I am preaching very much to the choir here. I would not bother with that. The Legendary Edition, on the other hand, is worth it, in my opinion, for the price, if you can handle the fact that this is a game that is absolutely full of RNG bollocks. Let's just call it bollocks for the time being. This is based on a board game called Blood Bowl, a Games Workshop one no less, and I enjoyed playing the actual tabletop version of this. It was really, really good. However, the problem with converting tabletops to video games is that when you're sitting alone in your chair, you are less tolerant of RNG bollocks than you would be if you were sitting across from someone else and you are having a good laugh about the whole thing. What is not funny is when you lose your star player because he accidentally trips over and breaks his neck, and that can actually happen in this game. There is a lot of dice rolling. In fact, most of the game is based upon it. So unless, once again, you are playing with friends, then the chances are you will find the game highly frustrating. There are also some people that complain that the game, in comparison to the tabletop, is not the same, and there are some flaws with it, although I have not played Blood Bowl in so long, there is no way I could personally identify it. What it is essentially fantasy football, and by fantasy I mean it's 2 teams of fantasy players, elves, orcs, all sorts of stuff like that, from the Warhammer universe, fighting each other in order to try and score goals. Or just beating the crap out of each other. That works too. It's got a team management mode, so basically you can take a team through a season. You still have to play, of course, and you can develop your players, and there's full online league systems, which are actually well implemented. But again, as far as I'm concerned, this is a game to enter with a little bit of caution. You must have tolerance for dice rolling. If you do not, you will find this game astonishingly frustrating, and it will not be all that fun. The best times of playing Blood Bowl is when you set up a private league, and you play with a bunch of your friends over the course of a number of weeks. Now that is really, really good. Aside from that, though, it's a dodgy purchase, really, and they do keep iterating on this game with a bunch of new additions. The Legendary Edition, though, is the best value for money. Dota 2, 50% off. The pack going down to $15, €13.99, and £11.49. So, why on earth are they selling this when this is a free game? That's the thing, isn't it? This is the early access pack, so this guarantees you access to the current beta version. That's been running for quite some time. And the question is, what does it get you? Well, it gets you into the game, and then it gives you a bunch of items. And that's about it. Considering that you don't need heroes in Dota 2 because they're all fully unlocked from the very start, this is actually kind of pointless. The only reason you would want to grab this pack is if you desperately wanted to be in Dota 2. Now, if you wanted to desperately be in Dota 2, chances are you'd have found a beta key from someone already because they've been floating around the internet for God knows how long. So, honestly, I would not buy in at this stage, because if you have a little bit of patience, unless you're really desperate to get into Dota 2 anyway, then eventually this game's going to come out and it's going to be free. I mean, that's the whole point. It is supposed to be a free game. And right now, the only reason it's not is because they're having this fairly lengthy beta period. Now, as regards to what the game is, I don't really know if I have to really explain that to you guys, but just in the off chance that I do, I would suggest that you go and have a look at my older video on Dota 2. It's not really representative of what it looks like right now, but the notion is the same. It is Dota. It is about defending your towers while attacking the enemy's towers, leveling up your hero, trying not to die, and the eventual aim being to destroy your opponent's ancient, which is in the center of their base. That is how it is. It is a very hardcore game. It is a very difficult game to master, and expect to be yelled at a lot by people that are much better at the game than you are. That said, the game is a lot of fun, and once you do get into it, chances are it will actually suck up your life and will be one of the most cost-effective purchases you've ever made. But you know what's more cost-effective? Not paying for it at all. So ask your friends, see if they have beta keys. Chances are they do, if they are already in the beta. There's already a huge number of players and beta keys available for pretty much anyone that wants it. So honestly, you're not benefiting at all by purchasing this early access pack. So that is just a suggestion for you. I would apply a little bit of patience here, unless you really, really like spending money on something which is otherwise free. Dungeon Defenders, 75% off, takes it down to $3.74, €2.99, £2.49. Do not buy Dungeon Defenders on Steam. The reason I am telling you this is because it is currently available as part of the Humble Bundle for pay what you want. So there is actually no reason at all, unless you hate every other game on the list for Humble Indie Bundle 7, and you're planning on paying next to nothing for the bundle, which would of course make you a colossal douchebag. Now, here's the thing. The version on Humble Bundle has all of the DLC. All of the DLC. That's a pretty big deal. If you want all of the DLC on Steam, you're going to be paying basically 3 to 4 times as much, which is kind of terrible. So they have slashed all the DLC prices on Steam, so this is a good opportunity to grab parts of the DLC if you already own the game, because it doesn't really work that way if you get the Humble Bundle, although it would be very easy if you to just replace the game entirely with a new version. But aside from that, you shouldn't be buying it on Steam. What is it? Well, it's a third-person tower defense game in a cartoony style where you kill wave after wave of enemies, and you should probably be doing that in online co-op as opposed to playing it solo, because it's just a lot more fun. You level up your hero, you find item drops, you get little pets to help you out, and you construct towers and traps in order to defend your crystal. And it's a bunch of fun, especially if you're playing with friends. However, as I said before, why even bother picking it up on Steam when you can support the Humble Bundle instead and get a bunch of other games with it as well, which includes the Mighty Shank 2, which is a freaking fantastic game, as well as Legend of Grimrock, Snapshot, Binding of Isaac, Closure, Indie Game the Movie, and whatever hell others they decide to add in the next few days, which they probably will. So buy it on Humble, don't buy it on Steam. You get Steam keys anyway if you're desperate for it, so come on, really? Why would you miss out on a deal like that? That would just make you a very silly person. Alright folks, that is me done for the day. Thank you very much for watching the Salebox. I'll be back tomorrow with more saily goodness. I don't know if I'll be doing it on Christmas Day. If I do, I think my family will probably kill me. Just bear that in mind. And the wrath of the missus is nothing to be sniffed at. So do bear that in mind. You do not expect a video on the 25th. I'll see you next time.